Hi children, my name's Anatolius Heimler, but it would be in your best interest to call me Dusty. Today we gather here for the SDEX standard MSN-04 Sazabi from Mobile Suit Gundam, Char's Counterattack, released in movie theaters in 1988, piloted by the rather infamous Casval Dakin, or as you may know him by the name, Char Aznable. The kit came in this neat-looking box that it almost made me reconsider opening it. Keyword, almost. As seen here, it came with only a few runners and a complimentary sticker sheet as cost-cutting measures to maximize profit margins. Oh, and don't forget, the instruction manual's here too. Feel free to read through it, 'cause I sure as hell did not. It just seemed unnecessary for such a small and simple kit like this. Opening the bags, we are greeted by Bandai's quality injection molding, which doesn't come as a surprise to me, in spite of the fact that it was manufactured in China. Now we begin our journey by liberating the plastic pieces from their prisons that we call runners. Then I employ the help of the two-cut method to ensure that nub marks wouldn't dare to show their faces in front of me. Those bastards. Moving on, let's put these aside for now and read you the instruction manual for a second time. Wouldn't want you dozing off now, would you? Now that I got your attention again, why don't we move on to the next step, starting with these polycaps. God, as much as I dislike these, this kit unfortunately cannot function without them. Not sure what happened here, I was kinda just doing whatever. At least it didn't took that long to figure out the correct configuration on my own. But in all seriousness though, I'm not really sure what was happening during this portion of the recording. I was kind of just doing things all over the place. Thankfully though, I managed to gain some semblance of direction and somehow, against all odds, managed to assemble the legs without a hitch. Let's just hope that it gets better from here on out. Trust me, I'm the one who edits these videos, and even I get confused at times. I'm honestly impressed by my ability to edit these in a somewhat cohesive manner. Going back on the topic at hand, I sometimes use a glass file in cases where the two-cut method isn't enough to thwart the evil nub's plans to ruin your plastic model. But looking back at the rest of the footage, it barely comes up. But that doesn't mean you should put your guard down, so I recommend you to remain vigilant when it comes to nub mark removal. After all that cutting, it seems that I made quite the mess for myself, but not to worry. With the magic of editing, I'll make it disappear in 3, 2, 1. Now that's out of the way. We move on to the kit's full assembly. This video footage right here might trick you into believing that it'll be smooth sailing from here on out. Then you are sorely mistaken, and I don't blame you for that. And even I thought that to be the case, but that couldn't be further from the truth. This is only the beginning of what was to come. It'll only get worse from here on out. So here's the kit out of the box, plain and simple looking. So I decided to add some details, not knowing where it'll take me. But before that could happen, I had to deal with these unsightly mold lines that ran through a good portion of the kit. To do that, I had to disassemble this headpiece. Looking back, the disassembly seemed rather violent, but that is pretty tame compared to what was to come. I then made use of this cheap plastic cement I bought online to aid me in my quest. I was quite conservative at applying it at first. However, I decided it's better to be safe than sorry. So I slather that thing rather generously throughout, ensuring maximum adhesion is achieved. The same thing was also done on the shoulder armor. But instead of prying it apart like some kind of deranged lunatic, I instead had to ask for help from my good friend, Capillary Action. With his help, no seams or crevices are safe to escape from his grasp, and ensuring that they leave no survivors. The same was also done on the leg, so that begs the question on why I decided to dismantle the head. But at this point, the answer to that question might as well not exist. Moving on, we put these aside for now and go straight to applying the stickers. The only reason I'm doing this is because there aren't any other options available to me that isn't going to cost me an extra buck. And the lack of available water slide decal for this kit doesn't really help me either. But let's be frank, Everyone knows this kit ain't exactly a banger when it comes to overall detail and assembly, and is absolutely gobsmacked by a similar kit that existed for almost 4 decades now. And while we're on topic, the fact that they even made this together with the new Gundam makes it quite clear where their priorities lies. It's quite the shameless act, I know, but I commend the hustle. Since we're already on the topic of details, I might as well start painting some small details to make the kit slightly more color accurate to the movie version. We start by using a dark gray color mixture made from using a black and white acrylic paint, which was then used to hand paint the smaller details and create a bit more color separation throughout the kit. After that, I was reminded of the parts I forcefully coerced together had already been cured for long enough that I started sanding down the deformities caused by my liberal application of the plastic cement. To achieve the relatively smooth finish shown here, that was done by gradually increasing the grit used while sanding down where the seam line used to be, which only left stress marks created due to my inexperience and the lack of epoxy putty to fill out holes. Returning to our regularly scheduled hand painting, we continue on dabbing paint in the section of the torso that's supposed to be a lighter gray. No need to worry though, this was a calculated move that'll pay off in the future, and is definitely, no, absolutely not a blunder. Oh, and knee section of the legs too, almost forgot about that. Well, honestly, there's nothing really worth noting here other than me repainting it after messing up the cleanup. After that, I prepare a yellow acrylic paint for the other smaller details in the kit. This also adds a bit more color variety on the kit, but not so much that it becomes a mess. Though it pains me to admit that it would have been better if I had a smaller brush during this time for better color application, since I have a pretty mediocre hand-eye coordination. Oh well, beggars can't be choosers, I guess. Next up then, I prepare a red color acrylic paint. But why, you might ask? Well, it's basically to cover up all the visible flaws on the plastic surface that emerge from my rather haphazard techniques that I use trying to erase the existence of the seam lines. Now this begs the question of where I even learn of such techniques. Well, it all started when I was randomly scrolling videos on YouTube, when I encountered this very handsome lad named Boxman, who makes videos about building toy boats, which caught my interest. So I watched one of his videos, and the rest is history. Well, moving on from that side tangent, I continued to paint them itty-bitty details that I missed, while also covering up my mistakes with red paint. Now that I said that out loud, that might have sounded wrong out of context, but it's not like the person piloting this thing fared any better in that regard. Anyway, while I'm still painting in the background, please consider clicking the like button on this video and maybe even subscribing to the channel. It really helps me if you do that, and it might help you cool off a bit seeing the state of the world right now. I consider this part of the video a highlight of my painting career. Seeing myself hand paint with this much finesse came as a surprise, even for me. And before we move on, I had to apply this sticker before I even forgot it existed. And now we come to the most dreaded part of this video. I prepare this very suspicious looking acrylic gloss coat to be used by my dysfunctional airbrush. The gloss coat I used here looked so bad that I had to put up censors just to keep this video from being flagged for sexual content. As you've seen here, if this little girl wasn't here in the first place, we would be watching this video in an entirely different site, which will be the end of my career. That's why you barely see me use my worthless airbrush in the entire video. You can say that it's not its fault for being broken, but all I can say is, this is this and that's that. To cap this all off, I simulate myself foaming at the mouth to show just how much I was losing it. Thank God it was finally over, and we move on to panel lining. It may have just been a small portion of the video, but trust me when I say that entire thing took so much of my time that it made me feel like I was distorting in frustration. No point crying over spilled milk though. So let's just move on to the panel lines. As seen here, I'm basically applying the panel liner in excess, which may make its removal far more tedious for me to do. Unfortunately for me though, as it was far too late when I realized the conundrum that I put myself into. Not even this newly bought 000 brush I have saved me from my skill issue. But I've yapped long enough and ran out of things to say for now. So here's a Subway Surfers gameplay to occupy your eyeballs for a bit. After I left the panel lines to sit and wait for a few minutes, I will now attempt to use lighter fluid to remove the excess ink that I splashed due to my impatience. There's not much to really talk about it other than the fact that I put on way too much panel line ink on my kit, or that you shouldn't waste your money buying random MacGuffins unless you feel they're necessary for your hobby. Don't fall for their filthy marketing strategy to make you splurge on expensive stuff when you have much cheaper options to choose from. Quality be damned. At last, we gather all of them parts one last time to be assembled. Using polymerization, they all combine into one goofy-looking mobile suit. And with that comes the final step of this journey. Applying a flat, clear coat to create a matte finish on the surface, which also helps to seal all my hard work. With that done, we finally move on to the review. I'll be frank with y'all. For what it's worth, this Gunpla model ain't really the best. And the only reason why I decided to build it was because I received it at a Christmas party as a gift. Band-Aid may have labeled this thing a beginner-friendly build, and I agree to a certain extent if you're planning to use it as a training dummy to improve your skills as a modeler. However, if you're one of those collectors who just likes to straight build kits like this, you'll be sorely disappointed. You only really get 3 accessories, and all of them are quite simple, though I'm not saying the gimmicks they come with are bad, but like you have better options than this. The articulation is also very basic, which is to be expected in this model kit made to cash in on clueless people who have no idea what they're getting. It's practically more economical to just buy cheap bootlegs on any online stores of your choosing, as you get more out of such kits regardless of quality. Though do be careful when looking up those, as it's basically a gamble on whether you'll get something good on them or not. Here is a size comparison with the Woundworth if you're getting curious. Not much to say about since they're 2 different grades, since most of the SD line had always been short and stubby since its inception. But at the end of the day, it's up to you on whether you take my word on it or not. That's all for now. See you next time.